We've got an interesting prepping data this week. So we're looking at basketball data and we're looking to answer a lot of different questions quickly, basically. So we've got all different teams and their players. So the easiest way to combine these 30 different tables is to use a wildcard union. So union multiple tables together in the input step. So rather than being on that settings tab, we're going along to the tables tab. And we can see that we're just going to include all of these worksheets that have the names of the teams. And this creates us a table names field, which I've just renamed to be team. And I've also got rid of the file paths because that just repeats the file name over and over. We don't need that, so let's get rid of that. Okay, so our first kind of questions that we're looking to answer are around the player names and their jersey numbers. And you can see that they're together in a single field. So if we duplicate that field, then we can remove all the letters and that will give us the numbers. If we remove all the numbers, that will give us the names. So let's do that in this next step here. So to duplicate the field, we literally just right click on the field, say duplicate field, and that creates us this name-1 field here. Sorry, everything's going a little bit slow on my system today. I think I've had Prep open and I've been using it too much today. Clearly it's getting tired. Same here. So we've got that duplicated field. So from one of them, we can go to the menu, say clean, and remove the letters. From the other, we can go to clean, and we can remove the numbers. I hope I didn't say the same thing twice there. But then that basically then gives us a name field and a number field. So that's helpful. We can see a couple of players don't have numbers. I don't know enough about basketball to tell you why that is. But anyway, we might want to not consider these in our analysis going forwards. So as our question that we're trying to answer is just around which numbers are unused, then we can just use an aggregate step to just group by those numbers. So we have 56 different numbers here, and we can definitely tell there are some gaps, so some unused numbers in here. So let's take a further look. We'll filter out those nulls, so just clicking on them, saying exclude, and then we're going to duplicate this field just so that we can keep track of which numbers are used, and then to find the unused ones, we'll just fill in the gaps, so create rows for the new numbers. So we use this new row step. We look at the values from one field, the number field, so you can see that all the used numbers will have nulls where we've created those new rows for those numbers. And so we just need to make sure that we say for the values for the new rows, we want those to be nulls. And then we can filter it just to be the used numbers being nulls, and then the minimum number that is unused is 38. I feel like 38 is quite a nice number, but hey, what do I know? So, next questions that we're trying to answer are around the height and the salary. So, we have a height field. If we come back to our original input data, we've got this HT field. We can see that we've got it as a string at the moment, so we want to remove the M for meters from that and just turn this into a numeric field. And then actually we want to make this rounded to the nearest 10 centimeters. So let's go ahead and make those changes. So similar way that we removed the letters before, just going to that menu, clean menu, also removing spaces in the same way because otherwise Tableau Prep won't like translating that into a number. And then we change this to a number decimal. Important that we do that, otherwise we lose all the precision about those centimetres. And then to round it to the nearest 10 centimetres, we've simply got to round the height to 1 decimal place. And then we get this kind of histogram almost, because this is kind of how the values are distributed. Wow, some tall people definitely played basketball. My height doesn't even feature on this list at all. And then for our salary, very similar things that we've got to do here. So we can see that the salary field has the $ at the beginning, and then it has some commas in between the values. The commas should be fine. Tableau Prep should be able to translate those quite easily, but those $ are going to cause us some issues. And unfortunately, removing the punctuation does not get rid of the $, so we do need to write a quick calculation to deal with those. So just a quick replace function, replacing that $sign with nothing. And then we can change our salary into a numeric field. So this is our new salary here. The null values are all corresponding to these rows where we don't have information about the salary of the player. So then for our average salary per 10 centimeters of height, then we just group by those heights that we made earlier and put in the average salary there. And then we just want to format that to only be to 1 decimal place, so the average salary being in millions there. So to do that, just dividing the salary by 1,000,000. So rather than writing out 6 zeros and risking making a mistake, I just use the power function there, so 10 to the power of 6, and rounding that to 1 decimal place. And there we go. Cool. So third question that we're investigating, we're looking at finding the shortest and the tallest players in and what teams they play for. Or sorry, the shortest and the tallest average height per team. So we're grouping by each team. We're finding out their average height based on where we cleaned the height before earlier. And then we only want to keep the shortest and the tallest. So to make this dynamic, I used a couple of LODs. So the shortest being the min height over all the dataset, and the tallest being the max height over all the dataset. And then filtering this so that we have the height equals the shortest or the height equals the tallest. There we are. And then I went a bit overboard here. We've already got our answer as to who's the shortest and who's the tallest, but I thought, let's make this a bit nicer. I pivoted it so that we've got shortest and tallest in the row names, and then I just filtered it so that we just have an answer for this team is the shortest and this team is the tallest. And then finally, our last question that we're looking to answer is around I can't actually remember the average number for each of those height groups. So is the height correlated to the number that they choose? So I duplicated this step up here, so literally just did a copy paste from up here so that I had the height and the name number. I thought I was being clever earlier on in my development, but no. So that we've got both the name and the number, then we're using that height to the nearest 10 centimeters, and we're doing the average number, and then we're rounding that to 1 decimal place. And those are all of our questions answered. Bit of a different prepping data for us there, just trying to get some quick answers about interesting data. So I hope you enjoyed that challenge, and thanks very much, Carl, for the challenge.